Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Mastermind with Neil Schwartz and our very special guest today, Yvette Geater. Yvette, good morning, or I guess good afternoon, right?
Good afternoon. Yep, that would be it. That would be right.
God, when you smile, it's like 9 million candle watt power. That's great. That's
It's
great. You probably
showtime.
you just walk into an office and turn on that smile and people just say, hey, let's do business.
List my house. List my house. List my
List
house.
my house. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, Yvette, you and I, unlike a lot of people that I work with, are coaching together and have been for, oh my gosh, 4 or 5 years now.
Yes, absolutely.
And I've had the great pleasure of working with you as you've grown and built. And one of the comments I actually I mentioned this to you this morning was that in all the time we've had together, no matter if you have a problem with a transaction or something isn't
Mm.
quite going your way, or you didn't get a listing, or the listing is causing you some aggravation, you always have a smile on your face and I'm going to learn something from this and we're going to get it done. You don't get stressed out. You don't make yourself crazy. It's fantastic. Where does that come from, Yvette?
Well, that's a great question. I think that, what you see is I'm pretty composed. And, my grandmother said something to me a long time ago. I don't know if it's good or bad, but she always said to me, never let them see you cry. So I'm
Sounds like great advice.
so I'm composed, at least I try to be. I don't, when chaos is around, I think that's when I strive the best because I definitely have to take a moment and just kind of regroup. And my first indication sometimes is always to get back. And, I've learned that that is not the appropriate or right way to do
You,
it.
you mean to
So
get back at them?
kind of,
Well,
like you said
that's
it.
interesting you say that because I'm telling you, I've never sensed that from you.
Right. Yeah. Because it doesn't
Never
come
sensed that.
out.
If
Yeah.
if that's going on in your head, I've never sensed it.
Yeah.
That's
I try not to, but that's just something, something that kind of just happens in my brain.
uh,
But, I know better. I know better. So I do better.
well, that's
And,
great. Very, very good.
yeah.
Yvette, so we've talked a couple times before on this over the last few years, but tell our audience today what area you work, what price
Okay.
points, and give us a little bit of information on that, please.
All right. Fantastic. So I am in the Long Beach area. I work Long Beach and Los Angeles. Price point, I mean, it goes anywhere from probably average about 800,000. I'll obviously take a listing at, in the millions for sure. And I think the lowest that I've done was probably 100 grand.
I couldn't talk you out of that one.
That was easy though. That was one of my tax clients that the person that he was selling to was already in the property. So that
Okay,
was, super easy.
easy.
But that happens like once in a lifetime. But
Good.
yeah.
So you're a very successful real estate agent, but what most people don't know about you is that you own a very successful tax consulting business.
I do.
Yes. So when did you start that?
That started in um right around a little bit before 9/11. And I started that because I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to, fulfill my own destiny. And I always thought I was smarter than my bosses. And that kind of got me in trouble sometimes. But I always wanted to do what I wanted to do in the sense, not slack off, but really just to make a mark and not be ordinary. That's what I don't want to do. I don't want to be ordinary.
You are not an average agent. You're not an average individual. You're running a very, very successful tax business that earns you a number of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and you're running a real estate business that you make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at. In fact, I think right now, for the first 60 days, 65 days of the year, you're approaching $180,000-$200,000 worth of closed and pending business, correct?
Yeah, so it's about 220 right now.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not analytical.
No.
I said 180 and you said, yeah, exactly, about 220. Well, that's great. Congratulations. So
Yeah,
where does
thank you.
most of your business come from? Does it come from your accountancy? Does it come from new business? What's going on?
That's a great question. So most of it changes every year, strangely enough. So this year, most of my business has come from probate. Last year, most of my business came from probate and my database and my COI.
Mhm.
That is, my meat and potatoes, my database, my COI. I have to babysit, make calls, all the time. And, so I have a database with the real estate and then a database with my tax business.
Mhm.
And, I never take anything for granted that, the great thing is I have a great database, but also, like I said, I don't take it for granted. I have to work for everything. I go up against agents, all the time.
Mhm.
And what makes it great for me in not with these agents that are sitting here today, and we're only a small frame of that, but there are a lot of agents that just don't do much business. And if I get an opportunity to go up against an agent, like that, I'm going to do everything I can to let the seller know that I am the better choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we are able to help you in some of the statistic part of that and finding out if you know what the competition is, where they do business,
Mm-hmm.
when's the last transaction that they did, are they a buyer side, are they a listing agent,
Right.
etc. I think recently, I think it was you that we had helped. You're able to get the deal because your days on market was less than your competition that you were going up against.
Right. It's been quite a few actually that I've had Robert send me some information on. One of them was a listing that Delroy and I took in Venice.
Mhm.
And there was an agent that he looked like, I mean, if I saw him, so I thought to myself, oh my God, this guy must be doing some business. He came in a suit and tie and he looked good and he smelled good and he did all that stuff. And then when I called Robert to have this guy checked out, nothing. He did no business.
Wow.
So I had to communicate that it was a probate. So I had to communicate that to both attorneys because there's two attorneys. Had to communicate that to both attorneys and then to my co-administrators. So, sometimes what you see is not really what it is. And the great thing about it is that every time I call Robert and ask him to do something for me, he does it right away. And it gives me great confidence because then I know who I'm up against. And then it helps me on the next listing appointment because I can say with authority and confidence that I'm the better agent.
So knowing your statistics is very important in the
Right.
business that you've been getting and winning, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Vital.
Great. Excellent. Good
Vital.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. I mean, you started your accountancy business in large part based on our conversation because you didn't want to be, your words, average. You didn't want to pay check on a regular basis. You
Right.
knew that early on.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I
knew
knew that probably when I was in middle school, junior high now, in junior high, I knew that I did not want to be average or mediocre
Got
like
it.
everybody else.
Right. So
100%.
okay. So that takes you and you, a lot of your family really was in civil service jobs, etc. Not
Right.
just they weren't entrepreneurs, is what is
No.
really right.
No.
Except
My
for your,
mom,
was it your mom?
yeah, my mom and dad just probably recently, maybe in the last 10 years, stopped asking me, how am I doing it? Because my mother just could not see, how do you make a living all year from January to December just doing taxes? How's that possible? So they just stopped asking me that about 10 years ago.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Isn't that great?
It's one.
How are they going to feel when you earn in excess of $1 million this year?
Oh, they are expecting it. Yeah. They are expecting it. Every time I take a listing, I mail my parents the flyer.
Oh, good
And
for you.
yeah,
Good for
yeah,
you. What a great thing. Hey,
yeah.
mom and dad, this is what I'm doing.
This is it.
Good,
This is
good
it.
for
This
you.
is what I'm doing
All
every
right.
day.
So early on, you knew this is what you wanted to do,
Right.
but you didn't know all how to do it. So did you have some mentors or some training or some exposure?
Yeah, so that's another great question. So when I started my tax business, I was already in accounting, so I knew numbers and how to do a tax return and how to communicate. But what I didn't understand is marketing. And taxes to me is a direct sales business. You'll speak to most tax owners, they'll tell you no. But it is, you really have to sell yourself. People have to like who they do business with. So I had to A, be likable, and B, because I do taxes, I have to keep secrets. I have to be able not to communicate what other folks tell me because you are based on referral. So the mom will tell the daughter will tell her sister will tell blah, 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 and it goes on. So I am entrusted with a lot of secrets and I don't tell. I kiss and I don't tell. And
Yeah.
so,
Be
but
careful, your husband's on here.
yeah, where is he? Is he still here or has he rolled his eyes
No,
already?
no, no, he's still here.
Right.
He's taking
Here.
notes, copious notes.
But my investor always allows me to list it
Hold
once
on a
it's
second.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay, Armand.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Wait. I got you. Where did you go? Where did you go? I'm gonna unmute you somehow. Okay, let's go down here. You must be toward, there you are, young lady.
Okay, there we go.
Got it. Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
awesome. Awesome. So when I started my tax business, like I said, I could do all of that analytical work. And but I knew that I had to get a coach. So I had to help someone help me how to market the tax business. We did copy ads, we did direct sales. I did everything that no tax company was doing at that time. And I was really successful. So I did masterminds, Dan Kennedy, Zig Ziglar. I wasn't in those types of rooms, but the guy that coached me was in those rooms.
Got it.
So I knew that coaching and mentorship was great. And, sometimes and all the time you have to pay for it, which is invaluable, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what made you decide to shift gears a little bit and go from your accountancy business and into the real estate business? Because I would say this year, real estate will overtake your income from the accountancy business, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing is that I was getting a little bit complacent and it was certainly very easy for me. I have been doing it for 20 years. Delroy was also in another profession that was kind of like coming to an end. He was doing, the same thing every day. And so he had thought about getting into something different. So we tossed around like, okay, maybe taxes. I said, absolutely not. You're not going to get into taxes. No way. And then insurance. And then funny enough, he was driving around the street and he saw a sign, Century 21. And he said, you know what, I'm going to try real estate. And I thought, oh, that's great. My mom had a real estate license. My dad was a broker back in the 60s. So I thought that was a great idea. And he got his license, and then I got my license. So, and it was what I didn't think what real estate was. I had no idea. And I'm so glad no one told me what it was going to entail. But I had no idea.
No idea. So did
No.
you start working your base of past client and sphere, meaning your accountancy business? Did you go out after expires and for sale by owners? What'd you do? How'd you build your business?
I started with my database and my sphere of influence. And I started with, funny enough, I was with another broker. I started with buyers. And I remember telling Delroy, and these buyers that I had were my clients, my tax clients. And I told Delroy, I said, this is for the birds. I can't do this, be driving around all over the place and writing offers and things like that. At least it wasn't for me. So I saw Mike Ferry and Neil Schwartz on YouTube. And Neil Schwartz in this blue suit, I'll never forget it. This blue suit and these glasses. And I thought, hey, I'm going to go to this class. Delroy and I went. We saw Ron Cronin, and that was it. I signed up for coaching that day at a production activity in Anaheim. And I not once have ever looked back.
That's great. Fantastic. Well, you're very coachable. You're a lot of fun to work with. The neat part I find as a coach for you is that I can give you an idea. You'll question me on it because you're analytical. But not difficult. I don't get a lot of pushback. I get, well, how does it work? What do you suggest? This is this and that. And then you'll try it. And you'll try it for a week or 2 or 3. And then you'll report back in a coaching session. Okay, this worked for me. This didn't work for me. I modified this way, and I go out and do it. In fact, you had shared an idea that you got, and I'd love for you to share it with the group right now, is the idea that you got from Mike at one of the events where he said to just put a note, a sticky note.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell the story.
Yeah. That is such a little idea, but it had such a big impact for me. So I was sitting at a retreat in Las Vegas, and I had never heard him say this, but he had said, when you send in the listing presentation, just put a little post-it on there that says something like, please sign and we will discuss later. So I put that, I thought, oh, that's a good idea. So I put that on my listing agreements. Boom.
In the pre-listing package.
Listing
right?
packet, yeah, right on the contracts.
Right.
And I tell you, I have when Delroy and I walk in, they're signing the contract then at that time, or they've already done it and they have a couple questions, and or I have to go over it. But 8 times out of 10, it's already signed and they're signing it. And
That's
then
amazing.
Maybe I'll have to go into, my spiel. But I think in San Diego, I think I had shared with Mike Ferry that I don't get a lot of opportunity to do listing presentations because of that little note.
Right.
And yeah.
So I'm sure people are thinking, well, wait a minute, these are past client and sphere, and they already know you and you know them. That is the case in some cases.
Right. Yeah.
But how many times does that happen when it's a new client or a probate client or something like that?
Yeah, it happens more often with the probate. It does happen with the sphere of influence, because you're correct. They do know me. With the probate, because I work with a probate attorney and I have a warm introduction to them, it's also not guaranteed that I'm going to get the listing, and I don't approach it that way. So I do 100% my best on trying to figure out the personality of that client. And I'm doing a better job every day. And I'm getting more listings because when I speak to the client, when I identify if they're driver analytical, expressive, or amiable, then that's the way I approach them. So when I put that note there, it's just like osmosis. They're just, drinking the water. It's supposed to happen that way.
Very interesting, because I would suspect, based on how my accountants and CPAs send me my stuff, they always are sending it with a little note tag, sign
Right.
here, sign here, sign here. So that's was a natural situation for you in your business, right?
100%.
So
I
you
always
didn't,
tell people, sign here, sign here.
right,
Yeah,
right. And a lot of your clients are just doing that.
right.
That's great. I think
Yeah.
that's a fabulous tip. Fantastic.
I
Thank
think
you.
it is
Thanks for
too.
sharing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what makes Yvette Yvette? We talked a little bit about that this morning on our coaching call. And, like, first of all, what do you think your superpower is here?
Great question. I think I have a few, but one of my superpowers is the ability to connect with somebody sooner than later and to listen. And I think that has, and I've tuned into it. I think I've always had it because I think I have an ability to influence, and in a good way. I guess you could use it for bad or you could use it for good. I use it in a good way, the ability to influence and to connect with people. Now, I can't connect with everyone, but a great majority, 98% of the people I can connect with by something. There's something that will connect us.
So
And then
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on you
that's
that way.
okay.
So what you're saying is you approach everybody with a big, beautiful smile.
I do.
The smile shows up first, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have a smile in your eyes. It's not deceptive. Your eyes are smiling too. So I don't know if
Yes.
you know that, but they are.
Thank you.
And then you listen to the client, you ask questions, you have credibility in the in the accountancy side in terms of what goes on, what line, et cetera, but you're
Right.
interested in what they're saying. You're not just writing a bunch of numbers down.
Right.
And then you listen to them, and then you have a conversation and help them do whatever it is that they're looking to do. Is
Right.
that kind of how that's working for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I've tried to understand in my mind is I try to put their needs before my needs, because when I do that, they can see it and it's more helpful. And sometimes it's not in my favor,
Mhm.
right?
Give me an
So it's
example of what you're talking about there. Can you?
absolutely. Prime example. Seller had to sell. They had 30 days to sell. They were in a panic, called me. Delroy and I were there, Johnny on the spot, got the listing agreement signed, and I and they were concerned about a foreclosure. They were flipper. They were well over leveraged in the property. And I said to them that we're going to sell the property. Now, it's up to you to decide how that will look for you. My job is to do that, but I'm also looking out for their best interest because they didn't want a bad credit report. They really wanted to finish some of the stuff on the property, and I encouraged them, and it was okay with me for them to also to seek that. And they did do that. And so we had the listing, and then we had to do something different with the listing. But the point of it is that they were so appreciative of Delroy and I, and they have more properties that they're going to flip. And they're going to need a realtor just like me, and I will be the realtor. But so that's what I mean when I say I don't put my interests first, because see, it's not about me. If I can get them what they want, eventually I'm going to get what I want. And that is
So you,
fact.
it's okay for you not to take a listing and to advise them to do something where maybe you don't get the commission on that deal, but it's the best advice for them.
Yeah,
Is that what? Okay,
100%.
got it. Great,
100%.
fantastic. Okay,
Yeah.
so what would you recommend someone newer, has some experience in the business, maybe they know how to put deals together, but they're not getting listings today. Listings are a little bit more difficult today for some people than for
Yeah.
others. How many listings have you taken so far this year?
Four,
4, and you closed how many deals so far?
10.
10. Okay. So some of them are buyer side, some are double enders.
Well, they're all listing side except for most of those I double-ended. But yeah.
Okay. So how many pendings did you come into this year with?
Oh, I came in with I want to say 14.
Okay. So 14 pending coming into the year.
Yeah.
Got it. Most of those closed already, or we still have some to close?
We still have some to close. Most of them closed.
Got it. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. What would you recommend starting today, this afternoon, for an agent that knows how to do deals but isn't getting any listings right now? Where would you send them? You're the coach.
Oh, I was going to say, first of all, get a good coach.
Well, you're the coach. You coach them.
You know, I think it really is just back to basics in terms of, because it's difficult to get listings. It's always hard to get listings. You always want to work to do that. You know, the only time listings fell in your lap is probably during COVID. So we have to increase our skills, get on the phones, talk to people, have conversations everywhere you go. You know, get a coach. It's so important to have that cheerleader and to have someone ask you the questions and to be accountable. Make phone calls and do it every day, and you will see results. And let me just say this.
Go ahead.
Let me just say this. You have to know your scripts.
Okay.
You have to know them. So when someone says, I have a friend in the business, then you don't shrivel up. You know exactly what to say and how to overcome that objection.
You still are in our scripts class just about every day of the week, right?
Yes.
You know the scripts and dialogues as good as any, as well as anyone else I know, and yet you're still there role playing for most of that hour.
Yep, and I learn a lot every day.
So you still think you're learning stuff even after all these years. And I mean, you gotta be at role play 180 days a year. That feel right? Maybe more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 180
Definitely.
to 200 hours a year, and you do it year in and year out. So what about previewing property and prospecting? You still doing that on a regular basis?
I am still prospecting 100%.
Okay.
Absolutely. I have to do that.
Okay. When you say you have to do that, what's allowed to get in the way of you not doing it? Anything?
I like to say nothing, but you know, sometimes I have distractions and I'm learning to filter those things out. But for the most part, I have to prospect. I have to, because sometimes I'll get phone calls of people that want to list their property, and you know, I think that's great when that happens. But I have to prospect, because if I don't prospect, my business will take a slow turn, and a slow turn is not good.
No, you have to
Yeah.
the reason you prospect is to keep business coming in fairly steady.
Yes.
Which also allows you not to be crazy about where's the business.
Yeah, I do ask myself that. I always say once I close a deal, I always say, where's the next one coming from?
Good for
And
you.
it comes from right here, my phone.
Right there, the phone. So you're reaching out to people.
Yeah.
So we have a question in the chat box. How do you go about getting your phone numbers for your phone calls?
How do I go about getting my phone
Phone
numbers from
numbers, yeah.
my database? Is that?
Yeah, I guess that would be for databases or maybe even
COI?
COI,
Yeah.
or even probate.
Right. So today when I was talking to a COI today and she gave me two names, I always ask for, I said, oh, okay, well, that's great. Thank you so much. Can you give me the phone number? And I'm quiet. And she was like, I said, well, I'm good for it. I didn't give your information on the last lead that you gave me, and I won't do it on the next lead that you gave me. And so then she freely gave me the phone number. So I do ask, for the phone number always.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So here's another question. If you're a newer agent on a budget, do you believe in buying a dialer like Mojo or RedX?
That's a great question. I know a lot of agents that have Mojo, RedX, and all of those. I don't use that because all the folks that I'm calling, usually most of them know me, but I call probate leads also, and they don't know me either. So it's just easier for me. I just use my own phone.
You don't use a dialer, but do you use a number generating service like Arch or Vulcan or one of those?
No.
Where do you get those phone numbers then?
What numbers?
The probate numbers, the attorney
Oh,
numbers.
that. Okay. I subscribe to a company that does probates. They comb over all, because probate is open,
Right.
open to the public. So there are companies out there that go to the court database and
Okay.
they give you all of that information. So
Got it.
it's I don't think those Vulcan, Mojo, I don't think they have those, but there are companies that have those probate leads, and some of them are trust leads also.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Can we open up for questions right now a little bit? Okay, questions for Yvette. Casey Richardson asks, what's your schedule like being that you're in business full-time as well?
Hi,
That's a
Casey.
great question. We talk about that all the time, don't we?
Yeah, all the time. That's a great question. So I have two offices. I have my home office here, and which is set up just like an office. Everything that you need to run a business is here. And I
Here
am
meaning at your home or at the office work?
both. So at my home, I have a complete office. And then, so that's where I do the real estate. So I do the real estate in the morning, make my phone calls between 9 and 12.
Okay.
So from 8 to 9, I'm in role play, and then from 9 to 12, I am on the phones. And then I leave here, and then I go to my other office, my tax office in Long Beach, which is 5 minutes away.
Okay.
So I go there. I have a full staff at that office. So that office can pretty much run without me being there every hour of every day. And some days I'm not there. Like yesterday, I wasn't there, or there's days that I'm not around. So that office can run. So when I get at my tax office, I'm helping my tax clients, but everybody knows that I have a real estate company and they go hand in hand. So when I'm talking to folks about taxes, I'm also talking to them about what the market is, if they have rentals, if they were thinking about doing a 1031 exchange, or, just completely cashing out. So there's always a conversation about real estate.
Mhm. Good. Excellent. Let's see. We have Vanessa asked if you wouldn't mind sharing the name and phone number of the probate company that you get your information from.
Oh, yeah. There is one of them my coach gave me. I want to say it's US probates. I want to say that. What I did is I Googled probate leads, and there are quite a few of them. So I kind of just checked out the one that kind of worked for me. And some of them you can pay by county.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. Do you stay close to your market on probates, or will you travel far? What's your thought process on that?
I will. So when I call them probates, I try to stay in the area that I grew up in, Los Angeles. I love that area because I know it like the back of my hand. I grew up over there. I know where everything is. People know me. So I love to be like in 90047. I will go out into other areas near there. Long Beach for sure, because it's in my backyard. Lakewood, I lived in Lakewood for 25 years. I own property there. And so if I get a lead from an attorney that I work with, it depends on the attorney, but most likely I'm going to take that. Like I had a probate COI in Little Rock. Everybody says Little Rock. Where's Little Rock? That's what I thought too. I didn't know where Little Rock. I thought it was Little Rock, Arkansas. But no, there's Little Rock. Yeah, there's Little Rock, California. So I took the lead, and I took the listing. And it was a great opportunity for me to learn so much stuff about septic tanks. I mean, I didn't know anything about a septic tank living out here in Los Angeles. So will I take it? Yes. Will I refer it? Absolutely. 100%.
You just did that, didn't you?
Yeah, I just did that. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. Excellent. Okay, other questions for Yvette? Just jump in or put them in the chat box. Switch.
Okay, I'll ask a question. Hi, Yvette.
Yes, please.
Thank you for coming over. It's great. So,
Hi, Tess.
how are you, my dear? Always
Hey.
beautiful. So, my real question is this. You mentioned about that you first have to determine their personality. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I know by asking question you're able to, but how quickly can you determine a personality style of a person?
Good question.
I'm learning to do it more quickly, much more quickly. Neil had me do an exercise. I'm so glad you asked me this question. So I took all the listings that I had last year, and he wanted me to classify the personalities of the seller. And I thought to myself, do I really have to do that, Neil?
Yeah, what a stupid idea that is, right?
Yeah, I don't really want to do that. But I did do it, and I learned so much about myself. But the answer to your question, Tess, is that almost in the first couple of minutes, I need to kind of identify where they are. I know an expressive. All right, I have a hard time dealing with expressive. Neil and I have talked about that. None of my sellers are expressive. That's what I learned about myself.
And because they're
way too out there. They're just like, there's just so much going on, and it takes time for me to process stuff. And I can't process it fast enough. And then, I kind of shy away. But I know that now, so it's easier for me to kind of identify with that. And I have an expressive right now. She is a probate given to me, by another attorney. And this is a great opportunity, and I'm doing very well. I'm an expressive now. So I'm just like her. Hey girl, how you doing? That's her. So that's me. Hey girl, what's going on? Well, guess what I found out? Oh, what did you find out? Oh, okay. That's me. And then when I get off, I have to, that was a lot.
Exhausting, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So,
That's great.
so what you found is you were really good with drivers.
Yep.
And you're really, clearly you're good with analyticals because you're analytical,
Yeah.
right? So that was easy. How you
Yep.
doing with amiables?
I love amiables. Amiables that's my bread and butter almost. Amiable, I love amiables.
So the
I can
neat part,
identify with an amiable really quickly.
so the neat part when we got this work done and Yvette finished it was she wasn't worried that she didn't like working with expressives. If it worked out great, if it didn't, no problem, because she was working with 3 out of 4, correct?
Right.
Yvette?
Right.
That
Correct.
was an okay percentage for her.
Yes.
Got it. That makes sense, you guys?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just
100%.
gonna ask the
Very
question.
powerful.
Thank
Very
you.
powerful.
Thank you.
Um, Ashley, could you oh, never mind, I got it.
Hi, Neil.
Yes, Gloria, you have a question?
Question.
Go ahead.
Yvette, since you have two businesses, tax and real estate, how do you manage your time, or how do you prioritize your work during a very busy tax season?
That's a great question. So I've been doing this for this is my 6th year, and COVID was very helpful because it allowed clients not to come into the office and sit down and talk. So I was able to build upon that. And so now my clients are so good about, they very rarely come into the office. Some of them come into the office, but most don't. So we have a portal that we do and we take care of them that way, just because things are changing. And a lot of my clients are older and, they don't want to come in and sit down. They would like to do it a different way. So I've had to learn how to navigate through that. I don't work on the weekends. My tax office is open, but I don't work on the weekends. So that allows me. So I have a great gatekeeper at my office, the best gatekeeper ever. So I have a wonderful staff, and people don't get past her. So it makes my life easier.
Easier. Easier.
I
Great
see.
question. Thanks, Gloria. Good
Thank
stuff.
you, Gloria.
All right, other questions for Yvette?
Makes your life easier and quicker. What's your
Yeah.
morning routine, Yvette?
Oh, Armand, you had to ask that question, didn't you? So from 8 to 9, I am on role play. And then at 9 o'clock, I have an accountable class, or over the phone with about 5 agents. So probably in about 15 minutes, we go over what you're doing, where you're going, where you've been, what happened the next day. So we do that really quickly, and that's every day at 9 o'clock. And then after that call is over, then I'm on the phones from 9:15 to 12. And certainly I get interruptions and things like that, but I try to keep that to a minimum. And then from 12 to right now, from 12 to about 7, I am at the tax office. And
And
then
that's in large part because it's tax season.
yeah, right. Yeah,
Right.
normally I close at 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And then
in
after
tax
that, I
season,
come back here and then I work also.
so one of the things, because she's so organized in this way, at least organized enough, that we've been able to do is identify every tax client that comes in and does their taxes, but sold or bought a piece of real estate not through her. And that way that she can identify what she's doing right or wrong with that group of people. Right, Yvette?
Yeah, that was another task that Neil had me do. And that one was gut-wrenching. That one was painful. Even though, I think I'm the best agent, I can help everybody. But last year, I was surprised to find out that 10 of my clients did not use me as an agent. 10. Okay.
So
So
how much did we figure those 10 were cost you?
Over 150,000.
Right.
Yeah.
$150,000 she didn't get and still had a spectacular year.
Yeah.
But she didn't fire those clients, did you?
No. No. No.
Good.
And some of them were out of the state, but that's okay because I still could have helped them. But what I've learned is that's why I say I have to fight for every listing. I don't think that because I have this database that's automatically going to happen. And I know that some people might think that, Yvette has this tax database, so things will come easier. They may come a little bit easier, but I had a client tell me just the other day, he said, well, you do taxes, Yvette. You do really good taxes, but, can you sell my property? So still after, 6 years, I'm always having to prove myself to make sure that, and it's good for me, because, this stuff you do have to work for. Some stuff is given to you, but for me, I have to work for it every day.
Well, kind of with all due respect, you
Okay.
worked 20 years to get that database.
I did, yeah.
You worked 20 years. It's not like you woke up today and had these 400 or 500 people in your database. You spent 20
Right.
years building that business. And
Yeah.
now, you're able to parlay it. So congratulations, good for you. Vanessa asked, what is your cutoff time in prospecting past 4 p.m. that you would stay after this time is too late to call and what time is too late to call and prospect?
Oh, that's a good question. So I will prospect up until probably about 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And what that means is so if I miss a phone call from a client that called me because I called them, I'm gonna call them back. And so I'm returning phone calls or I'm talking to clients up until 7. I had a client call me a couple nights ago at 9 o'clock about her property. So I prospect up until
about 7 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Here was a question. How much of your real estate business comes from your tax business?
That's a great analytical question. How much of it? I would say probably it's not 10% because that's what Mike Ferry and Neil says it should be. So it's probably somewhere around 5%, and it could be better.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think you're looking at it a different way because your past client and sphere.
Oh yeah,
that's where that comes from. So you're
Right.
probably 40-50%, maybe a little bit more, but your probate work right now is coming up strong.
Yeah.
How many deals out of the 10 or 12 that you closed and pending, are probate, do you think?
1, 2. There were 4.
Okay. All right. So that's 25, almost 25%, 20% anyway.
Right. And then I have 3 probates now.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions for Yvette? Other questions as we wind down here? Other questions? Jump in there. Yes or no?
Hi, Yvette.
Go ahead.
Hi,
Tiffany.
Tiffany.
Hi. A quick question. How many people do you have in your database?
That's a great question. I have about hovering over about 440.
Right. And do you do like the sending out stuff to them 4 times a year?
Oh, so my database, I I send them emails 2 to 3 times a week. I send birthday cards so they're going to get a birthday card every year. So every month we're sending probably like 50 or 60 birthday cards. We send thank you cards after they finish a transaction with taxes. Obviously, after they finish a transaction with real estate. Um, so they're always we send text messages automatically. So we are constantly touching
Mm,
the
Thank
client
you.
as much as possible.
Thank
Got it.
you.
Was that
All right.
helpful? Okay.
Great question, Tiffany.
I
All
have a
right,
question. I
let's
have a
give
question.
Yvette.
Can I
Okay, go
ask
ahead.
one
Go
last
ahead.
question?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so in reference to the probate, Yvette, I
Yeah.
want to ask this question to you. How much of a follow-up do you do on a probate when somebody tells you, well, we're not ready yet, we're waiting for the court hearing? How much communication do you usually have for those people?
Right. So when they say that they're waiting for the court hearing, I always ask them, is there anything else that needs to be done for the estate? For example, are there any clean outs? Is the property vacant? Are there any repairs that need to be done so that I'm trying to insert myself so that maybe they can use a vendor that I recommend. I can recommend a vendor. And I will follow up on that probate probably every 10 days.
10 days.
Yep,
Okay.
I'm following up.
Do you send postcards and
I don't send postcards to them. I will call them.
okay.
The probate leads, I'll call them. I'm starting to implement a program though with the probate, with my assistant and I sending out postcards to those specific ones in the areas that I want to work in, but that hasn't been implemented yet. But I like the phones and I like calling and talking to people. So I prefer to do that, but I know that there's other ways of, communication. So I'm open
Right.
to that.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, Tess, thanks. Jaime, did you have a question? Unmute, Jaime.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thanks, Dale. Yeah. The question I have for Yvette is,
I
how do you interface with your tax clients to obtain real estate business?
How do I interface with my
How do you
tax clients?
how do you interact with them? In other words, for lack of a better term, in terms of with your tax clients to get to obtain or to extract real estate business.
I could answer that because she showed it to me earlier today. She picks up the phone and puts it to her ear.
Mhm.
I asked her the same question. I said, how do you stay connected? I call them,
I
like all of
call
them,
them.
as much as I can.
Yeah.
So right now you're picking up a lot of business, right?
Well, I have more clients calling me, right? Calling the office to find out what the status is on their tax return. And I always say to them, and I know the answer already. I said, do you know I own a real estate company? Oh, yeah, Yvette. Oh, awesome. So tell me. And then I go into a spiel. So depending on the type of client, if they own property, if they own primary, if they have rentals, if they have commercial property, depending on where they are, then and how sophisticated they are, then that's the conversation that we're going to have.
So you read your clients first. You look at the tax returns. You look what they have in their assets. And that you glean information from that, so you'll be able to offer your services to them. What you can provide to them in terms of like real estate services.
Oh yeah, and because they already know me and they already trust me.
Mhm.
See,
Makes
that's
sense.
yeah.
Mhm.
I already know everything. I know the social security number, the mother's, I know everything. So to me, it's a natural progression. right? And so I just have to reaffirm with them that they're doing the right thing.
No, makes total sense.
Thank
And you're so,
You're
very
welcome.
professional on both sides. You're working for a professional company, you're a professional person, you dress professionally. This is not, I would say for a guy, it's coat and tie work. For you, you're always in a nice, business attire. So this is not like a mama papa deal. This is business.
No, no, I'm always, really quick. I remember when I was starting my tax business and I would send out, I did door knocking back then. I was leaving my tax information in Lakewood to let people know that I was doing taxes. And someone had, oh gosh, I just totally forgot it. It just left my brain. What was that? What was that question you were asking me?
I don't know. You left my brain too, Yvette.
Oh, I know what it was. I know what it was. So when and I sent it also to my family. And remember, my family comes from a different type of mindset, right? They come to getting a paycheck, doing this and doing this. So, but in my mailer, I said that we, and my family knew it was just me. It was just me. So my aunt called my mom and said, "Why is Yvette talking about we and it's just her?" And my mom said, "Well, she's bigger than what she thinks she is." And so I always thought about that. I am bigger than what I think I am. 100%. I'm just one person, but to everybody else, there's a huge team behind me. And all I have to do is convince people of that. And it's easy to do.
Well, you're doing a great job. We appreciate you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all the sharing. Everybody unmute yourselves. Unmute. Let's
Thank
go.
you,
Great
guys.
job. Woo!
Thank you, guys.
Good
Thanks,
stuff.
Yvette.
Good job. Thank you,
So-
Yvette.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
As you know, we always go take a few minutes right now. So I don't know if you have a hard stop, but if you don't, please stick around and see what everybody learned today.
Awesome. I love
All
to.
right. Thank you again. Okay. What did we learn from Yvette? Who wants to go first? What did we learn?
I have a question. It's a very simple question. So, Yvette, you said that you get distracted sometimes. So, what usually distracts you?
A squirrel.
Oh, wow. When I say, an email can distract me. So I've learned to not have my my iPad near me. A phone call can distract me. So I've learned not to have that or turn it down so I can't hear it. And that's it, really. Those types of communication, because those types of communication then leads you into more distraction, right? Yeah. So just kind of, I think Mike Berry had said that, nothing is going to burn down if if I don't call you within an hour, it's all okay. And if you're calling me because something is burning down, there's a problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Call the fire department.
Call the fire department. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. That was great. Good question, Miriam. Good work,
Yeah.
Yvette.
So
Okay.
I have something to say.
What else did
Yeah.
we learn? What else did we learn?
I have something to say.
Manuel, go ahead.
Yeah. So Yvette, first time listening to you. I used to work for Marty Rodriguez years ago. She was the #1 agent in the world for Century 21.
Oh.
And your smile, your energy, and your radiance so much reminds me of her. So yeah, I thought your smile was uncanny of Marty's also. So thank you very much for your input. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for saying that. You made my
Yes.
day, Manuel.
Oh, good.
Exactly. Good
Thank you.
job. Okay. What else did we learn? What else?
Neil, very early on, I learned that Yvette was very approachable and she's always open to helping you with anything that you want, just asking questions. She always lets me sit next
That's
to
a
her
really-
at the events.
100% agree. Very approachable. Absolutely. At the
I think-
events, on the phone, etc. Go ahead, Miriam.
I think she's amazing and a driver. a driver, but she's so sweet.
She's
At
not
the
a
same
Oh,
time,
driver.
she looks like, yeah, she looks very sweet. She
She is
sounds
See, I'm a
sweet.
driver, Neil. I'm
So
not
driver sweet.
analytical.
She's
Oh,
not
I
a
thought she
driver.
was a.
No,
Oh.
drivers don't know how to add numbers.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought she was a driver.
No, the biggest
Sorry.
giveaway is that she's an accountant, accounting. You know,
Uh-huh. I
she
see.
actually has CPAs working for her.
I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, what else did we learn today?
Think bigger than what you are.
Think bigger than we are.
Jaime, 100%, man,
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you have to know the scripts. That
Yeah.
was the first time I heard that in a long time. So thank you for sharing that. That was really good. And you
Yeah.
have to know your inventory. You know what's going on in your marketplace, whether you officially preview property or not, you know what's going on in your marketplace.
Yeah.
So good for you. Congratulations. All right, everybody,
Thank you,
unmute
guys.
yourselves. Let's give her a big, big round of applause.
Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Thanks, Yvette.
Good stuff. Good
It's my pleasure.
stuff. Okay. Yvette, thank you again.
Thank
Let me see. Armin, you're up at
Ooh,
1
any more
o'clock.
questions for Yvette?
No, Armin, it's
Hi,
okay.
buddy.
Come on, Armin, you can start. It's you only have 14 more minutes.
14 more minutes. Okay,
And then
here
Adriana,
we go.
and then Yukiko. And then anybody that wants the 2:30 can take the 2:30, okay?
I'll take
All right,
it.
everybody. Yvette, again, thank you so much. Really powerful stuff.
Thank you, Neil Schwartz. I
All
appreciate it.
right, you guys, you take care, be
Okay.
well, and
Yes, ma'am. Yvette is the best. Let's go
she's the
with
bomb.
Regina first.
They say the bomb,
Thebomb.com.
bomb.com. I wonder if somebody's got that.